Today, I would like to introduce to someone I've gotten very close to within a short period of time. This young gentleman is a very outgoing, kind-hearted individual who treats everyone with so much respect. He works hard in school and athletics every single day.
He picks you up anytime you're down. He listens when you need him to. It hasn't taken up too much of my time to understand what he goes through. If he sees something wrong physically, emotionally, academically, athletically, he tries his best to fix it. At this point in time, you consider him as a best friend or even like a brother, and I'm grateful to have him in my life. Unfortunately, neither one of us can clap, so could you please help us welcome?
Let's say you drop a glass of water. The glass breaks and water goes everywhere. You can take the event in two ways. One, get really frustrated, or two, pick it up in order to go on throughout your day. Sometimes we all go through a moment where we need to cry, but the world won't stop for your tears forever. You need to push through the anger and grief in order to try to turn those emotions into something useful. I'm an 18-year-old American with Dominican, Uruguayan, and Ecuadorian descent from an immigrant family. A family who worked through many trials to give me opportunity here in the United States. At 5, I decided to play hockey, although my family pushed for soccer and baseball. They bought me the cheapest equipment at the time, just so I could skate, even though all the other kids had top-of-the-line equipment. I got bullied every day about my looks, my skating ability, and anything else you could think of. I cried almost every day, but my family pushed me. It was always never give up, Chachi, so I did it. By the end of the season, I broke all my equipment, pushing as hard as I could as a 45-pound child. That's why I ended up winning the Player with the Most Heart award. During the time of 5-year-old hockey, I was a Hispanic child growing up in a very Caucasian town, Dodgeville. I couldn't speak English at the time, and I had a language problem where I mixed both English and Spanish in very confusing ways. I wanted to fit in, so I always tried to speak more English than Spanish. The teachers at my school told my mom that I actually wouldn't graduate high school given how bad my problems were. Quote unquote, he can't speak or write, so what are we meant to do? This is where my mom took the challenge and said no. From then on, she would spend hours teaching me penmanship, pronunciation, attentive manner, you name it. At the time, my 5-year-old self did not like this, but I thank her so much for this now. She taught me to go against all odds, no matter who tells you what, and it has led me into the best person I could be right now. I've learned throughout life that the only actual opinion about you that matters is yourself. If you tell yourself, I'm going to make it, then you will. You can have haters, you can have supporters, you can hear multiple opinions about you, friend or foe. In the end, it's a battle of your mind and you alone. Recently, I had a close friend of mine end his own life. His name was Zachary Simons. His birthday was May 25th, 2006, and he was gone December 19th, 2022. 6 days before Christmas, 11 days before my birthday. I had always thought of him as someone who never cared about what others said, a tough, nonchalant kid. Unfortunately, even someone who seemed to have no problems did. I was in Las Vegas for a college hockey showcase when I found out. I was scrolling through Snapchat. I just stared at my phone for an hour until I told my mother and broke down. I cried and cried, wondering how I could have done more and wondering if this was my fault. I ended up playing my next 2 games in the showcase, but not to my full potential. My coach noticed and gave me some slack, but I was upset that I didn't perform in front of major scouts. Eventually, I learned to grieve my friend's death better and actually use it positively. Instead of thinking, I'll never see him again, I've turned it into, he's watching and rooting for me up there. Sometimes during sports, I'll use my frustrated guilt as a way to build up some anger in order to play better. This was not easy by any means, but it helped me mature, both physically and mentally. Whether it was me sleeping in a car for a full year, losing family and friends, moving states every year of my life, mental toughness was hard to accomplish, but it's not impossible. It's just difficult at times. Who cares about what others have to say about you? So what about statistics and odds against you? Your biggest foe in the end is your mentality, and that's the only thing in the world that will stop you. So the next time you drop your glass of water, just pick it up. Thank you.